Hey, welcome to Little Hollow Homestead. Tonight we're going to process a few Cornish cross meat chickens that I've been raising for the last 8 weeks. This is my second batch, and I kind of got a head start. I wanted to do some rehearsal before my videographer got here, my producer, my what else are you, my CEO, the man behind the channel, let's put it that way. So before he got here, I did 6 of them just to kind of get things going, and we'll kind of show you how we do it, Little Hollow Homestead style. So my chickens are up on the meat, in the meat tractor. I just go up and get them one at a time, bring them down. I have a kill cone on the back side of this shed. We won't show you that part of it, obviously. And then from there, I bring them here and I wash them down. I try to get as much dirt off them as possible. Then they go into our scalding pot, which you want to have between 150 and 160 degrees. I like to keep it a little on the cool side. I find that if it's a little more towards 160, when you pull the chicken out, it's actually started to cook the breast meat a little bit, so we don't want to do that. So the next step, out of the scalder, onto the table. If you can pull the wing feathers out, you know you're good to go. I bring them here again. Again, I hose them down. I try to get as much dirt as I can off before I open up the skin, open up the inside, so we don't contaminate the meat. I'll do a little bit of plucking of the wings here, and then we go to my invention to remove most of the other feathers. I still have to do some hand plucking, as you'll see. And then I have my nice little handy dandy unintentional hose holder right there. One of the best pieces of equipment that you always want to have is a good sharp knife. You want to make this as quick and humane as possible. So a sharp knife is the best way to do that when you start processing your chickens. So we go to that. I part my chicken out. I'm finding that people at the farmer's market, for some reason, are intimidated by a full chicken. Last year, as soon as I started dividing my chicken up, the chicken flew off the shelves. It was amazing. We had our first farmer's market the other night. It's the same kind of thing. People really bought up the cut up chicken. So I'll show you how I do that. I do it 2 different ways. Like I said, my own version of how to do it, and I'll show you the 2 processes that I like to use. From there, the cut up pieces, we wash them again, get them as clean and as feather free as possible. Then they go into my ice bath, which is water filled with blue ice. And that's where they sit until we take them up into the kitchen, where again, we wash them one more time, lay them out on towels on the kitchen counter, let the meat dry. Not completely, but you want to get most of the moisture off of them. And then we seal them up in our seal mill up there, and then off to the freezer they go. So here we go. We'll get started. All right, you try as best you can to keep them calm as possible, less wing flapping, secure their wings. And so then you walk them down. Take the bird, you can see we're up to 150. And I just count to 40. Have you been counting along? 40. And the way you tell, if those feathers pull out, you know you're good to go. So I pull these by hand. One of these days I'm going to buy me one of those fancy chicken pluckers. And it might be as soon as next year. Because this really is labor intensive if you have to pluck these by hand. And you come to my defeather. Anyway, that is pretty good. The only cuts that I leave the skin on are the wings and the thighs. So the breasts I sell skinless and boneless. So there is still a little bit of hand plucking involved. And then throughout the process, we constantly check for any stray feathers. When you got feathers like that, you can just take your knife, go against the grain a little bit, and they pop right out. So leave me a comment in the comments, which is the best automatic pluckers, the Yardbird or another brand that you've tried that you like. Let me know, because I think I'm going to be in the market for one here next year for sure. So I think it's really important to cool your birds down as quickly as possible as well. So that's another added benefit of multiple hosings. Okay. Whoop, I get my cameraman. Separate the feet. That's another good way to tell if you've scalded your bird well enough. If the part of the chicken foot that was in the water peels like that, you know it's ready to pluck. And I do sell the chicken feet at the farmer's market. That was one of the first things that sold out the other night. People like them. So before I gut the bird, this is the first way I do it. And I think this is my preferred way. We'll cut the wings off. Try to save as much breast meat as we can. Just follow that joint around. Like I say, I try not to cut any of that breast meat off. But we'll cut those. And then I like to take it one step at a time. So I'll take these wings. And I'll go over one more time. Make sure they are featherless. You see that little layer of fat on the bird? That is a real good indication that your birds are getting a lot of nutrients to create all that fat. Not just from corn, but from wandering around on the grass, eating bugs, worms, and grass. It really makes a superior product, in my opinion. And they go into the ice bath. The feet will do the same thing. We'll put these guys down, clean them up. A lot of times you see Cornish cross chickens, they'll have like a black spot right here, or even on the toes. And there's a lot of different theories. My take on it is those are burns from them sitting in their feces. And it's just like a nitrogen burn from just too hot. So you'll notice the chickens that are in the chicken tractor that move every day don't have that. So another indication that you're raising good healthy birds in a nice clean environment, making them happy every day except this day. All right, so my way of doing it, I don't gut it at this stage for this way of doing it. I'll take and I'll just start separating the skin here a little bit. Cut around, I just kind of follow it around. There's a little chunk of meat right there. I try to get as much of that as I can until you feel the bone. Then all I do is pop, you can see the joint. And then as I come down, you can see the meat right here. I want to get as much of that meat as I can on the thigh. And generally people that like thighs best, like the skin on them. Me included. So there you go, there's the thigh. Again, I cut around the back, following the separation of the meat. There's the joint. And get that meat off the back. And there you go. You've got a nice clean thigh. Here again, I take it one step at a time. My goal is to get these cuts of chicken on ice as soon as possible. All right, so the breast, like I say, I cut these up, skinless, boneless. That's what my customers prefer. So there's a little membrane that holds that skin on right there. I just take my knife, get that out of the way. Trying not to do that and score your meat like I just did. What I like to do is I take my knife. You can see this line right here. I just stick my knife in. You can feel the rib cage fairly well, just like when you're filleting a fish. And I follow that down like that. Careful, you want to get that tenderloin to stay with the breast meat as much as possible. And then there's that inconvenient wishbone that's right there that just makes doing this a pain sometimes. And then I come right here and I'll follow right along there, feeling the breastbone there as I go. And there you go. There's a nice clean breast. Do the same to this side. Again, we'll follow that line of meat, feeling that carcass as we go. Not only do you want to salvage as much meat as you can for sellability and profit's sake, but you want to honor the animal that you've spent all this time raising and giving a good life by utilizing just as much as you possibly can, which will lead right into the next segment here after we get this breast off, cleaned up and on the ice. All right, so there you go. That's pretty clean. I didn't leave very much meat on there. These Cornish cross chickens, I'm not sure what their body temperature, their normal body temperature is, but they are just hot-blooded little dudes. Which is why I try to have this done early in the year, because they do not like the heat very well. Okay, there you go. A couple of boneless, skinless chicken breasts, feather-free, into the ice. My wife likes it better when I cut them up down here because I don't mess up her chicken. So there you go. I haven't even gutted the bird yet. It's not very messy. So I harvest the gizzard, which is that little dude right there, and the heart right there. And I don't have to touch with guts, intestines, nothing. The filleted bird goes in my gut bag here, or gut bucket. I have to put the lid on so the dogs don't get it out. Okay, so there's the chicken. A lot of guys don't mess with gizzards, and if you've ever done one, you know why. They're kind of a pain, but I have customers that like them, request them, so I will continue to try and help them. So this is what we find out the chicken's been eating. So there you go. You see some mash, but you also see a lot of grass. That, in my opinion, is what makes a superior product, is that grass. For some reason, the grass and the stuff just sticks to this fat on that gizzard like you wouldn't believe. Every time I butcher chickens down here, oh, we got some water. It's too hot now. We got to turn that down. We can add some cold water if we need to by the time we do the next bird. Then you got to peel this nasty little lining of the gizzard off, which is why most people do not mess with the gizzards. But I like them. I get it. I understand why people want them. It's just a thick little membrane in there that probably just helps grind up what they eat. And there you go. Get rid of some more of that fat. Check for grass, feathers. One more rinse, give the hard rinse. There you go. That's all there is to it. We'll get things cleaned up and get ready for our next customer. Okay, we got the chicken cleaned up, cut up, getting ready to package it. What we do is we just set everything out. You want it to dry. Otherwise, when you use the sealer mill, all that water prevents it from sealing. So we want it to dry, so we just kind of spread things out, keep everything kind of in the same pile. And another opportunity to clean it up. A lot of meat for just 4 chickens. Well, that's why we do it. Be sure to use your wife's best dish towels for this. Nothing but the best for your homegrown chickens. She'll appreciate it. Okay, so we'll let that dry for about 20 minutes to a half hour, and then we'll pat everything dry. Whoop, forgot a croissant. And we'll just kind of pat everything dry before we put it in the freezer bags. And we'll go over it with a fine tooth comb here as we bag them. Just to get any little remaining feathers. But there you go. So we'll let these dry for a minute. We'll pat them dry, inspect them real good, and then we'll start the Food Saver sealer bag process. I like to arrange them so they look nice in the package. Not just a big pile of feed in there. It's always good to have a bag of these sitting out at your display on the farmer's market because it attracts a lot of attention. There you go. Nice and sealed. You have to watch this seal because sometimes you'll get water as it sucks all the air out of there. You get water and it'll come through here and it won't seal, so you have to do it again. But we got lucky that time. Well, let's try wings and see if they're dry enough. I don't know if y'all gonna fit in this quart bag or not. Let's see. See how that did. Still, I much prefer the shrink bags for poultry. And I think I might go back to those. This is just, you can get these bags. Of course, with Amazon, you can get about anything pretty quick. All right, I think we got a good seal on those. Okay. We'll just keep on going here. Okay, we're all packaged up, ready to go. I do two different kinds of packaging. I do a family pack that has 6 thighs in it, and then I do just the 2 packs. So the 4 chickens we butchered tonight, we're just doing in the smaller bags. But there you go. These probably weigh about 2 pounds a piece, so if you do the math, the breast's a little less, but we'll go put them in the freezer, get them frozen down, and we will finish the last 4 up in a day or 2 when we recover it. So thanks for coming along tonight, seeing how I do it, how I butcher and process my chickens. The gutless method, like I showed you, where you take the wings, the feet, and the breasts off of the body. You don't have to mess with pulling the guts out until you go in after the gizzard and the heart. But even then, you don't have to mess with the intestines and stuff. So I like that a lot better. It's a lot cleaner in my opinion, and just as easy. So anyway, thanks for coming along tonight, and until our next adventure, take care. We'll see you.